Alright, so this next video has our common names for ketones on it. Okay, so again, IUPAC names, common names, slightly different. You just have to learn rules for each kind of thing. If I have a common name for a ketone, I'd say I have this 2-butanone here, right? Or just butanone. You don't really need the 2, as I told you before. All I'm really doing is identifying that carbonyl group and then branches off of that carbonyl group. So I have one carbon here that's part of my carbonyl group, but then I have 3 more carbons that I can name otherwise. This ketone is going to be called a ethyl methyl ketone because there are 2 carbons branched off of the right side. There's a methyl group on the left, and then the ketone part of it is kind of like when we were naming our ethers before. When you named an ether, that might have been an ethyl methyl ether, right? It would have looked something like this, right? So all I'm saying is that instead of having an oxygen here, I have a carbonyl group. So there's a carbon there with a double bond to oxygen, but otherwise it's basically the same thing. So that one's going to be called ethyl methyl ketone. You can follow through on this to make it anything you want. I can turn this one into the right into a cyclopentyl methyl ether, or ketone, excuse me, right? So you can just have pretty much anything going with these, including phenyl groups to make it aromatic if you wanted to. But there is also another little thing that we need to worry about. The smallest of our ketones actually has a special name that we use for it. We don't call it a dimethyl ketone like you'd think. If you have propanone, the other name for it is acetone. And acetone actually is the chemical that a few of you in this room use to get nail polish off. Right? Acetone is a very commonly used chemical that you probably are familiar with to a certain extent. So nail polish remover is acetone. The reason why acetone works as a nail polish remover is because it is a very good solvent to dissolve something like this ethyl methyl ketone. Right? If you look at the label for your nail polish, one of the ingredients in that paint is this chemical called MEK, right? And MEK is basically methyl ethyl ketone. They put those things out of order as far as our rules are concerned. But since you have an M for methyl, an E for ethyl, and a K for ketone, that's what that is. Right? MEK is found in a lot of paints. Acetone can be used to dissolve that ketone and therefore can take that nail polish off of your nail. So you just have to know a few special things, right? Remember the acetone, because that's not actually going to be called dimethyl ketone. So you have to memorize that name. So make sure that you put some special emphasis there. Acetone is the appropriate name there. Because this other ketone that I highlighted here is sometimes called MEK, I'm okay with you calling it MEK, right? If you want to take a shortcut, right? Technically, that ethyl methyl is out of order in that name, but since that's the name that's commonly used for it, I'm not going to count it wrong if you say that. So you could have an MEK, you can have acetone, but you can have lots of other things. Like I said, this one over here would be kind of a cyclopentyl methyl, ketone. Right, I could tell you that you have a, what would be the alphabetical order there? Ethyl isopropyl ketone. And you just have to draw it out. There's an ethyl attached to that double bond to oxygen, that carbonyl group. and then put the isopropyl on the other side, and it looks something like this. Alright, so that's it for your common names.